Apple Still Life. You have your white paper that will be in your folder, horizontal, or you could do as vertical. That's going to be artistic decision that you need to make if you would like it vertical or horizontal. Now we are going to be doing a very similar Apple Still Life, a pretty simple one. Again, your tools, you could either use a pencil or a black crayon. Please do not use the Crayola markers or any other marker because, again, we're painting. So if you tried to use a marker and then paint, it's going to ruin the lines. So pick which tool you're going to use. Again, I would wait till I finish my drawing to then add my name just in case I want to use both sides if I have a mess up. You can always use your sketchbook to practice a few times before you put it on your paper because you only get one piece of paper. So make those decisions before you make it on your final piece of paper. Now, we are going to be making a bowl, and the curve of the bowl is not straight. This is the top of the bowl. So actually, we're going to do the bottom of the bowl, then the top of the bowl. So in the middle, and I'm leaving space for the apples up here. And if you ever want to know where the middle of your paper is, you can fold it. Like I know that's the middle of my paper going horizontally, so my bowl is going to be on the bottom part of that line. So that is the bowl that's sitting on the table. So I'm going to go ahead and draw the line. So that's the bottom of our bowl sitting on the table. Now the top of the bowl is also going to be the same ellipse curve, same curve, just not going as deep. I didn't make it very long because I had to finish it. So that is your bowl. Again, the top of the bowl is not straight. It is also the same curve that I have. It's just not as a deep curve. Now, for the apples, I'm going to allow you to cheat a little bit. Okay, for the apples, I'm going to allow you to cheat using the top. Now, I know many of you may have done the lemon still life with me when you were in kindergarten or first grade. So it is very similar because when we overlap different shapes, we don't want to trace the whole shape. So obviously the ones that are coming out of the bowl, the part of the top that is technically in the bowl below that line, we don't want to trace it. We don't want to look like the apple is hovering over the bowl. So once you do that, and obviously the edge of the bowl, you don't want to be tracing an apple that's hanging out of the bowl because that wouldn't be possible. So make sure you're in the bowl. You got to hold the top down so it doesn't move with one finger. And then again, I'm going to start at the top of the bowl and trace over and then stop at the top of the bowl. So you're going to have to kind of move this around to figure out how many apples. Obviously, I can't do one in the middle the whole way, so I can do it like it's hiding behind here. So I start on this apple, stop on that apple, and then if you, again, don't let it hang out. It would not be hanging out. That's not, gravity would not allow that to happen. It would fall off. So you have to think, could it actually sit there? Again, start at the apple, come around, stop at the apple, start at this apple, come around, and stop. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, odd numbers are best. Depending, we may be sharing these, so if they need to go back wherever Miss Lawson gave you, just make sure you return them. Before we go on to paint, I'm going to add the little stem. So I'm not doing anything extravagant. A line with a curve. Maybe this one will be sticking up more. Want them to look like they're turned to different ways. Okay. Now, once I've got it drawn out, that's when I would flip it over if I like what I see and write my name. Again, don't forget to write your name or it'll be on the no name wall or door. And then painting will be part 2. Okay, once you get all your papers passed out, again, check the name. Our paint is a little bit different. This is new paint that is only for my art majors, which is 4th and 5th. It is called semi-moist temper paint. Cakes, because it's not water. So there's always a plastic. Please don't throw this away. We need it to cover it up so they don't dry out. So make sure that you leave your plastic top somewhere on the tray. Now, they're dry. Like if you touch them, nothing's going to come out of you. That's the point of a cake. You have to wake them up, just like a watercolor. So I'm going to be giving you a different, we're using round tip brushes this week for the apples. So you have water that's in a cup, so make sure that way it doesn't spill. Keep it on the tray. Always keep these items on the tray so Miss Lawson can always grab this if it spills and it doesn't ruin anybody's art. So to wake them up, you have to have a wet brush, and then you're going to lay it on top and you're going to rub over it. So I'm trying to figure out what color I want to do. Let's do the table, the brown. So you can see it changes color, and I'm gently just rubbing over it. And you can see it paints very smooth. So let me get this so you can see it. Again, your artistic decisions of what color goes where. Again, as you paint, just spread it out. I don't have to get water each time. The less water, the darker the color is going to be, but eventually it's going to stop moving if you watch. I haven't got water in a while. If you notice, it doesn't move as smooth, so I'm just going to get a wet brush and smooth it out. So again, you don't have to get water every time, but there becomes a puddle that eventually creates on top. And because we do have water, you will be able to clean your brush off every time. Just make sure when you're doing it in the cup, you gently bounce it off the bottom. Please don't tap it on here, because if you tap it, water will fly everywhere. You bounce it and then you wipe it off the edge. That's what that curved edge is for. So again, you are making your artistic decisions of what paint color you would like where. I'm going to go ahead and speed it up so you can watch me. Okay, let's talk about the apple color. Now, apples are a yellow red to a yellow green to a red green. So there's several different colors you can go with. Now, I wanted to stop here because I want to explain what I need for you to do. Anything in the back is going to be darker than anything in the light. So these three apples, I'm going to be showing you how you can make them lighter compared to the two or however many apples you have are in the back. You saw, if you're paying attention, I added orange to this. I was trying to see what would happen, but I realized it was the orange did not blend in with the red. So I'm going to try to go over with it. So one way you can darken the colors in the back are do more than one layer of red. So I know it's not completely dry, but I'm adding another layer of red on top of the one I painted. And again, it made it darker, and this is just one layer of red. So adding more than one layer to it will make it darker. So the three in the front. Now, the paper plates won't work, but the square ones are going to work better because, again, it won't dry because this kind of paint will dry quickly. So I'm going to show you how to make a lighter red. So again, you need just water, add a little red, and then get enough where I can clean off my brush, add a little white to my brush until I see it change. Now, this method is a little bit harder because it is going to take a lot more paint. As you can see, my white starting to turn pink, so I'm trying to clean my brush off a little better. And obviously it's a little pink, but some apples do have a very light red, almost pink. So that's one way. Another way is we're going to mix yellow and green with an apple. So I'm going to do yellow, paint that on, get yellow on my little sheet, get a little bit of green, because that green's very dark, so add a little more yellow, So again, that's a yellowish, greenish apple. Then let's try, you could just do a yellow apple. So you have some options for your apples, but again, you'll have to use the square tray. Don't try to use the circle plate because it won't mix as well. So today we are adding the paint to our apple still life. Now we have a day 3 on this. Once we all get it painted, we're going to be using oil pastels to add a little bit of a shadow and a detail to this. So again, you get to pick the color of your table, pick the color of your bowl, pick the color of your background. Then you're using your reds, yellows, and greens to paint your apples in. Again, I would like to see the darker ones in the back, the apples in the back darker than the 3 or 4, however many you have in the front, which will be lighter. Once we are done, again, throw that away. Please don't take these out of the classroom. They're not to be going out. They need to go in the trash. Make sure if you're in charge, you're going to wash out the brushes, put them back in the house, and then please make sure, I will tell you what to do with the cups because they're really hard to get apart, so I will have to clean those and get those ready for the next class. Your paints, again, make sure that you have your little top and you close them up on your tray and get this back to the counter, and then your art will go to the drying rack for today. The last step of our apple still life, once it's completely dry, is going to be adding oil pastel detail. So each table has their own container of them. You kind of have to see what's in there. Everybody's is different. And again, shades don't matter. So you've got 2 shades of green. So it just depends on what's going to work best. Like my light green is going to work better for this apple because my apple's light, not my dark one. So you've got to look at the different shades and figure out what works better for you. Again, there's yellow and an orange yellow and even orange. So you've got to just look at the different shades and figure out. I think red has a orange red and then a red. And I thought there was a dark red. But like I'm going to start with brown. So when you think of a shadow, you're always thinking of the light that's coming from the same direction. So I always like to pretend my light's coming from the right corner, which means all my shadows are going to be on the left. So I don't want to put my shadows on the left and right. They're all going to be on the left. So on my bowl, because my bowl is brown, I'm going to just shade this part of the bowl. I'm not doing the whole bowl, and I'm doing this very lightly. I'm not pushing very hard. Because my tablecloth is blue, I've got to find a dark blue. And if you don't know what color it is, flip your paper. That's black. You may need that later. I'm looking for a dark blue. Sometimes they have them in there. So if not, I'm going to take some of the blues and just see which one. So far, this one's going to be the best. Ooh, wait. I don't think that's purple. That's purple. Okay, so on my table, again, on the left, my bowl is curved, so I'm going to draw a curve and just kind of shade this little shadow in. Okay, on my apples, again, I have different shades of apples. I'm going to need a light, I need a red. I think that's it. Okay, again, only on the left side of my apples. Same thing I did like the bowl. I'm just going to shade on that left side. This one you can't quite see because it's darker. And then my yellow. I don't know if this will work on the yellow because you can't quite see it. Okay. If you want, you could take the brown, maybe add a brown stem. Since mine was technically black in the... Okay. Now, for the green around it, instead of doing... Because technically, the shadows I could add right here, but I think I'm going to do a pattern on the back as if it is a piece of wallpaper. I don't want to do too crazy, because I want the focus to be on our focal point, which is our apples. This is just going to be a small detail that I'm adding around the apples. So... I think I'm going to go with white because I think this dark green, yeah, I'll go with white. Now, sometimes these get dirty, so you can use your paint mat, scribble it on to get the good stuff Okay, so I'm not doing anything busy. Again, I want the focus to be on my apples. So I'm just taking the white and making stripes with the white. I kind of have to make sure they're on the same area as I go on the other side. Again, I want to jump over my apples. I don't want to. See how subtle that is? Again, it gives it a little bit of a detail, but it doesn't go overboard where you're looking at the pattern instead of the actual apples. So again, use your oil pastels. One thing you could do, because again, paint covers up pencil. So if you used a pencil, then I would go back with that black crown and go over your pencil lines just so you can see, like I might do it for some of the separation, because like sometimes those paints go over lines and you can't quite see what we did. So I'm just going to go over a few of those. Okay, so once you have all these details, please make sure that you get your supplies returned where they belong. Please make sure that you get any questions asked, and if you need any help, please let me know.